Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, Colgan Bickey, and today we're going to talk about why if you genuinely want to start to change your life around and truly start to see some real growth and progress in it, then it is absolutely crucial for you to stop trying to ignore every single small decision that you decide to make. And instead, just really start to learn not only how to match your decisions with your overall vision, but how to then properly take some real consistent action and momentum towards these things from here on out. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. Now, when it comes to just truly changing your life around and truly starting to see some real growth and progress in it, understanding that your everyday decisions, whether they are small or big, truly is so important, genuinely is one of the most valuable lessons that I've personally ever had to learn. Because at the end of the day, no matter if it's a drastic decision or something as just getting out of bed or reading a book, decisions are so important and they control every single little bit of our present and our future, right? Your future doesn't change by what you do occasionally, it changes by what you do on a day to day basis, whether that is big or small. And because I genuinely didn't realize that, because I was making sure to reinforce the big decisions and not the small ones, it would hold me back, destroy my progress, and keep me in the same exact cycles that I was trying to break away from until I not only started to learn how to match my decisions with my vision, but how to then properly build some real consistent action and momentum towards these things from here on out. Because you see, back when I was still living in the city, always thinking that just one drastic decision would change my life entirely was the mentality that I was carrying on a day to day basis. Whether it was through just getting out of the streets, leaving the city alone, breaking away from my environment, leveling up my mindset, trying to achieve something that I knew deep down I wanted to. I always thought that if I could just do one of those things, my whole life would change to a point to when it finally happened. When I checked one of those boxes off and nothing happened, it gave me a reality check. I started to realize that it wasn't the big drastic changes that change your life, but the small daily ones, the habits that you formed, the things you do on a day to day basis, how you carry yourself, the people you hang out with. And because I was ignoring those small things, because I was only reinforcing the big ones, like we said earlier, it was keeping me stagnant. It would destroy my growth. It would destroy every bit of progress that I was trying to build until one day I woke up. I realized that these giant decisions, yes, they seem like a good plan, but in order to get through those, you got to go through the journey. And that's what those small steps are for. And because I was ignoring those tough parts, it would hold me back. But once I started to realize that the smaller steps were what it was going to get me to where I wanted to be. It was what's going to change my life. It was what's going to level up my mentality. And I started to focus on that. Not only did I grow as a person, but I changed my life around completely. I moved to Florida. I educated myself. I started this podcast. But you have to start focusing on those small wins. And until I started to do that, nothing was moving along in my life. Because when it comes to actually making these decisions, whether it is a drastic one from just leaving the home you're from entirely, leaving the state, or something as simple as just reading a book or maybe going to the gym, this is something that is genuinely way more important than most people think and truly does control every bit of aspect your life is going to turn out in. Like we said earlier, if it is your habits, if it's just the negativity you have around you, your mentality, your actions, the decisions you make are how you're going to live. And until you start to realize that, nothing is going to change, right? Hence why building these small decisions and focusing on them, pushing towards them is so important because once you do small decisions long enough, they become habits. And once you turn them into habits, they become your reality. But you have to make them habits. You have to do it on a day-to-day basis. You can't say one thing and then do another, right? Because that's what I was doing. You can't say you want to be an entrepreneur and then go live a crash out lifestyle. It is never going to work. Hence, why it's so important to start aligning your decisions and your actions with that overall vision. These people that are entrepreneurs now, they aren't entrepreneurs because they wanted to start a business, but then worked on something else. They're entrepreneurs because they carried themselves like it before it happened. They woke up on a certain time. They built consistency. They built discipline. They let go of the excuses. So if you want to change your life, you have to start focusing on the small decisions you make instead of the big ones. So, if you genuinely want to start to change your life around and truly start to see some real growth and progress in it, then understanding that you have to stop ignoring the small decisions that you decide to make genuinely is so important. Because when I sit here and tell you guys that when you don't focus on them, when you only reinforce the big ones and you ignore the little things, you are never going to grow. I truly do mean it. Because as you see with me, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how many times I tried to skip the corners, I tried to cut to the good part, it would never work until I not only started to learn how to align my decisions with my vision, but how to then properly build some real consistent action and momentum towards these things from here on out. So, moving forward, instead of just waking up every single day, playing life by the guessing game, wondering when your life is going to change, go ahead and take some real action towards it. Go ahead and start moving these things today, not next year, not in the next couple of years, right after this episode. Start realizing and matching your decisions with your vision. Stop saying and feeling like you want to be somebody but then act like somebody else. You have to start having these actions align. For me, I am a growing creator. I do not have $1 million house. I am not a very successful person, but I carry myself like I am. I carry myself to be like that because I manifest it, because I believe in myself, because I know what I can bring to the table. You have to start looking at these things. You have to start holding yourself accountable. There is so many of us when it comes to a decision. You just go ahead and you choose the easy route. You get into the comfort zone. You don't want to push yourself. You don't want to challenge yourself all because you don't feel like it. You have to hold yourself accountable and get these things done anyway. The most successful people out there, I guarantee you, don't want to go to all these meetings. They don't necessarily want to show up to work all the time. They don't want to spend 12 hours a day working, but they do it because they hold themselves accountable. And the third and most important one is start acting on these decisions. Stop saying you're going to do it and not. Go ahead and take real action towards these things. Because when I sit here and tell you guys, and I tell you this all the time, but when I sit here and tell you that you can change your life, you can do whatever you want, you can be whatever you want, I genuinely mean it. You just first have to stop ignoring the small decisions you make on a day to day basis and instead just really start to learn not only how to match your decisions with your vision, but how to then properly build some real consistent action and momentum towards these things from here on out. But with that said, today's quote is by Tony Robbins. He once said, "So if you don't like your life, change it. How would you change it? You decide. There's no action without first decision. Decision is the mother or the father of action, and action is what changes your life." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcast.